Here's something that will trigger every self-help guru and motivational speaker in the West. That relentless pursuit of individual happiness you've been sold, it's making you miserable. While you're out there finding yourself through expensive yoga retreats and therapy sessions, a Chinese factory worker supporting 3 generations is experiencing deeper life satisfaction than most Fortune 500 CEOs. Sound insane? A 75-year-old grandmother in Seoul who never traveled beyond her neighborhood knows a secret about happiness that your $200 per hour life coach will never teach you. The data is shocking. Despite working longer hours, having less personal freedom, and facing intense social pressure, East Asians consistently report higher life satisfaction and lower rates of existential crisis than their Western counterparts. Sound insane? A 75-year-old grandmother in Seoul who never traveled beyond her neighborhood knows a secret about happiness that your $200 per hour life coach will never teach you. The data is shocking. Despite working longer hours, having less personal freedom, and facing intense social pressure, East Asians consistently report higher life satisfaction and lower rates of existential crisis than their Western counterparts. Sound insane? A 75-year-old grandmother in Seoul who never traveled beyond her neighborhood knows a secret about happiness that your $200 per hour life coach will never teach you. The data is shocking. Despite working longer hours, having less personal freedom, and facing intense social pressure, East Asians consistently report higher life satisfaction and lower rates of existential crisis than their Western counterparts. Sound insane? The bronze bells of the temple still echo across millennia, their resonance carrying a profound truth that Western society is only beginning to grasp. Perhaps we've been pursuing happiness all wrong. While Western philosophy champions individual achievement and personal freedom as the pinnacles of human flourishing, Confucian wisdom offers a radically different path, one where true contentment emerges not from standing apart, but from understanding our place within the intricate web of human relationships. This ancient Chinese sage didn't just theorize about happiness, he architected a blueprint for it that has proven its worth across 25 centuries. Walk through any major East Asian city today, Seoul, Tokyo, Singapore, Beijing, and you'll witness something remarkable. Despite the pressures of modern life, the crushing work hours, the fierce competition, there's an underlying current of social cohesion and collective purpose that seems to buffer against the epidemic of anxiety and depression plaguing Western societies. Recent studies by the World Health Organization show significantly lower rates of clinical depression in East Asian countries compared to their Western counterparts. The suicide rates, while concerning in some areas, often stem from shame rather than the existential emptiness that characterizes Western mental health crises. What secret ingredient in the Eastern recipe for living creates this resilience? The answer lies not in genetics or geography, but in a philosophical framework so deeply embedded in the cultural DNA that most don't even recognize its presence. It's in the way a Japanese salaryman bows to his colleagues each morning, not out of mere habit, but from genuine recognition of their shared humanity. It's in how a Chinese grandmother spends hours preparing elaborate meals for family gatherings, understanding that food is not just sustenance, but a tangible expression of love and connection. It's in the Korean student who studies not just for personal glory, but to honor the sacrifices of generations before them. Born in 551 BCE in the state of Lu, Kong Chu entered a world torn apart by warfare, corruption, and social decay. The Zhou dynasty's mandate of heaven was crumbling, and with it, the very fabric of civilized society. Warlords carved up the land like wolves fighting over a carcass. In this chaos, a child was born who would dedicate his life to answering a simple yet profound question. How can humans live together in harmony? His father, a warrior of some renown, died when Confucius was just 3 years old. His mother, from a family of modest means, struggled to provide for her son. But poverty, rather than breaking young Kongchu, became his first teacher. Working as a bookkeeper, a field laborer, even tending to livestock, he experienced firsthand the daily struggles of common people. These weren't abstract philosophical musings from an ivory tower. They were insights earned through sweat and hardship. The death of his mother when he was 23 shattered him. In his grief, he turned to the ancient rites and music not as escape, but connection, to his ancestors, to the wisdom of the past, to something larger than his individual pain. This personal loss became the crucible that forged his revolutionary understanding. Human suffering stems not from external circumstances alone, but from our failure to cultivate proper relationships and inner virtue. What makes Confucian thought so remarkably effective at promoting happiness is its fundamental assumption about human nature. Unlike Western philosophies' often cynical view of humanity as inherently selfish beings requiring external constraints, Confucius believed we are born with an innate capacity for goodness. This isn't naive optimism, but a practical recognition that humans are social creatures who find their deepest satisfaction in meaningful connections with others. The concept of ren, often translated as benevolence or humanity, forms the beating heart of Confucian happiness. But ren is far more than simple kindness. It's the recognition that our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of others. When a Chinese parent sacrifices personal comfort to ensure their child's education, they're not suffering, they're expressing ren. The joy they feel watching their child succeed far exceeds any pleasure they might have gained from selfish pursuits. This isn't self-denial, it's self-expansion. Consider the Western ideal of finding yourself through solo backpacking trips or meditation retreats. While these have value, Confucian wisdom suggests we truly find ourselves not in isolation, but through our roles and relationships. A person is simultaneously a child, a parent, a friend, a citizen, a professional. Each role carries responsibilities, but also profound opportunities for meaning and satisfaction. The Western fear of being defined by others misses the profound truth that we are inevitably and beautifully co-created through our connections. Li, often translated as ritual or propriety, provides the practical framework for expressing ren in daily life. Westerners often misunderstand Li as empty formality or oppressive tradition. In reality, it's the social technology that transforms good intentions into harmonious reality. When Japanese workers stay late to help a struggling colleague meet a deadline, when Chinese families gather for elaborate New Year's celebrations despite the inconvenience, when Korean students bow to their teachers with genuine respect, these aren't burdensome obligations, but opportunities to strengthen the bonds that create collective happiness. The magic of Li lies in its ability to create predictable, comforting patterns of interaction that reduce social anxiety and increase trust. In Western societies, we exhaust ourselves navigating the ambiguity of social situations, never quite sure if we're saying or doing the right thing. Li provides a roadmap, freeing mental energy for deeper connections rather than surface-level negotiations. The tea ceremony isn't about the tea, it's about creating a space where human hearts can meet without the armor of ego. Yi, righteousness or moral duty, adds another crucial dimension to Confucian happiness. Unlike Western emphasis on rights, Yi focuses on responsibilities. This might seem burdensome to Western minds, but consider the profound satisfaction that comes from knowing you've done the right thing, fulfilled your duty, lived up to your moral obligations. The Chinese doctor who works tirelessly during an epidemic, the Korean teacher who tutors struggling students without pay, the Japanese engineer who ensures every detail is perfect, they experience a deep contentment that no amount of leisure or luxury can match. This sense of righteousness creates what psychologists now recognize as eudaimonic happiness, the satisfaction that comes from living according to one's values and contributing to something greater than oneself. While Western culture increasingly promotes hedonic happiness, the pursuit of pleasure and avoidance of pain, research consistently shows that eudaimonic happiness leads to greater life satisfaction, better health outcomes, and stronger resilience in facing life's inevitable challenges. Z, wisdom, represents wisdom but not the abstract intellectualism often prized in the West. Confucian wisdom is practical, embodied, relational. It's knowing not just facts, but understanding how to navigate complex social situations with grace. It's the ability to see beyond immediate gratification to long-term consequences. The Chinese business owner who forgoes quick profits to build lasting relationships. The Korean mother who knows exactly when to push her child and when to offer comfort. The Japanese craftsman who spends decades perfecting his art, they embody Z. This practical wisdom creates a form of happiness rooted in competence and mastery. While Western culture often promotes the idea that ignorance is bliss, Confucian thought